Hello and thank you for joining us on Zambia Today. I'm your host, Faith Katai. Zambia will join the international community in commemorating World Environment Day on 5th June 2026 under a local theme accelerating Zambia's climate action for green growth and sustainability. And so on the program today, we are focusing on the 2026 World Environment Day. And to tell us more about this day, my guest in the studio is Miss Mayando Kanyata, Acting Assistant Director of Environment Management in the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. To begin with, let's look at the significance of this World Environment Day. What is the significance? Why should we commemorate this day, especially for Zambia?
Before I go into the discussion of what is the significance of a day, I think allow me on behalf of the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment, Dr. Daud Shivamba, just to thank the management of ZANIS for according us this opportunity to speak to the masses through your channel, and also to appreciate you for the coverage that the Ministry of Green Economy has enjoyed from ZANIS throughout the years. Yes, Faith. The World Environment Day, if I can come to that, as you said earlier on, it's a global day. It's one of the UN days. It is very significant, especially to us as the Ministry of Green Economy, in the sense that it's one of the environment days that has been set aside to spotlight the environmental challenges that the world is going through. So not only do we spotlight the particular environmental challenges, but it gives us also an opportunity to call for enhanced actions towards whether it's mitigation against those particular challenges. So maybe if you allow me to just give a bit more detail. So this is an annual event. It happens every day on the 5th of June. And the global community, which we belong to through the United Nations Environment Programme, highlights a particular challenge for that year, where they want action to be moved towards. So we are excited to be part of these commemorations here in Zambia, especially that we have a chance to focus on the challenges that Zambia is facing in terms of environmental protection and put up our own strategies in terms of moving forward.
Okay, so what is the theme for this year's commemoration for the World Environment Day? And also, how do you interpret the theme?
Okay, thanks so much. So earlier on, I heard you in the preamble trying to say how Zambia has localized this theme. I should be quick to mention that at global level, the theme is around climate action. Particularly the globe is saying a call to climate action. I'm sure you realize and you agree with me that over the years, I think the world has gotten the signal from Mother Earth. Mother Earth is speaking to the world, to the planet in terms of how harmful us as human beings have been to it, and the globe has been reacting to what we have been doing to it. So I think the global community thought it was important that this year we focus on the climate change, and particularly we look at the actions that we are putting forward in terms of reducing the levels of emissions and what particular actions we are doing as member countries to move towards the green transition. But deliberately, Faith, when you read earlier on our local theme, at Zambia we sat down, we are with a composition of various stakeholders that are players in the environmental protection space. And we thought for us, it was not only a call for action, but it was time for us to accelerate whatever measures we have put in place. So why am I saying it was time for us? Acceleration was important. You would also agree with me that since 2021, when the Ministry of Green Economy was put in place, the agenda for the ministry was clearly stated. It was about ensuring that Zambia is able to adapt and mitigate climate change and also enhance environmental protection. So we thought that was a good start. We were given the impetus to move forward. And then apart from that, in the following year, I think in 2022, we were able to put forward a green growth strategy. So we felt that here in Zambia, yes, the shot has already been given. The shot was given in 2021 when the ministry was created. In terms of framework, a number of frameworks have been put forward to ensure that we move forward in terms of climate action. We thought what was key for now to highlight on was how do we accelerate the various interventions that we have put down as a country. So we are saying at the local level, we are saying accelerating Zambia's climate action for green growth and sustainability. And I cannot emphasize the need for us to move towards sustainability because we know that that's a global agenda at the end of the day. All of us want to ensure that whatever we are doing is sustainable, not only for ourselves, but also for the generations that are to come.
Wonderful.
So we are saying accelerating Zambia's action for green growth and sustainability. While the world is saying it's time now for climate action.
Okay. So, Madam, as a Ministry of Green Economy and Environment, are there any lined up activities for this day?
Yes, there are a lot of activities that have been lined up. Again, let me just be quick to say that the World Environment Day commemoration begin with a all-week event. So there's what we call our Environmental Week, which begins from the 1st to the 5th of June. So we have a number of activities that have been lined up, not only here in Lusaka, but across the country. Of course, the national commemorations will be held here in Lusaka, and there are a number of activities that have been lined up, not only by the ministry, but through our various stakeholders. For example, here in Lusaka, I think there are a lot of cleaning up events that have been lined up. Apart from cleaning up events, you agree with me also that the future, which I don't want to say the future is tomorrow, but the future which is today is in schools, they're in colleges and everything. So deliberately as a ministry, we have lined up a number of activities that have to do with sensitization and awareness creation amongst our learners. So we have debate competition, we have quizzes competition, we have art competition in various schools, and many other events that have been lined up from the 1st, as I said, on to the 5th. So when we come to the 5th, the main commemorations will be held at Lusaka National Park. And again, deliberately, the choice of the venue for the national commemoration, we know that climate change has its own impact on wildlife resources. And they are also, grappling with how to mitigate and adapt to the various changes that have happened to the ecosystems around our national parks. So deliberately, as Zambia, we thought the Lusaka National Park would be the appropriate venue for us to spotlight the light on climate change effects, also on wildlife resources. Wildlife resources, which we know very well, are very key in terms of our tourism. You cannot separate our wildlife resources to our tourism. So for the national commemorations, we are at Lusaka National Park on Friday, that is the 5th of June. And there are also a number of activities have lined up. More interestingly, I think in terms of direction, we know that this time around, Zambia is focusing on actions towards stopping climate change, or is it reducing climate change or mitigating climate change? So we have deliberately set up a lot of exhibitions. You find sector players from various sectors, from transport, from energy, from natural resources, name it, they will be there exhibiting the various interventions that they are putting in the various sectors, because you know that we can only win this fight if all of us from our different sectors are able to come on board and put up. So the commemorations will start with the exhibitions. Thereafter, there will be speeches that will be led, and of course, entertainment will be available.
Okay, so who is expected to participate in this commemoration? Is everyone invited?
The commemorations actually are open to everyone. Of course, the guest of honor will be the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment, Dr. Daud Chivamba, but also our cooperating partners from the UN family will be there, and also other various players around the environmental sectors will also be around to try to demonstrate some of the actions that Zambia has put forward. We also use that opportunity actually to discuss some of the challenges that we are facing in the sector and some of the strategies that people think could work to help us enhance our actions towards climate change. So everybody is welcome. It will be an exciting day. I should promise people that to be full of entertainment, but most importantly, full of knowledge, so that we could be able to action ourselves to make sure that we participate in the fight against environmental degradation.
Okay, so you talked about exhibitors. There will be some people who will be exhibiting some things. What sort of things are going to be exhibited?
So as I said earlier on, we are expecting exhibitions from various sectors. Most interesting, you know that if we want to fight climate change, we are talking about how can we reduce emissions. So of late, I think in the past few years, Zambia had that crisis that had to do with energy. And as a ministry, you know that we are championing clean energy and sustainable energy. So there will be a number of exhibitions around energy. Again, another interesting sector that we are expecting to be there and is a sector that has to do with transport. You know that transport is one of the sources of emissions. And if we are fighting climate change, we cannot fight climate change without bringing our colleagues in the transport sector. So there are a lot of exhibitions in terms of what are the innovations around the sustainable transport, how can the transport sector reduce on emissions. I know that in the past years where we have done exhibitions at the ministry, we have been able to showcase electric vehicles. I know that there are innovations around the country that have moved even to electric cars, electric motorbikes, electric bicycles and all that. So we're expecting partners from all those sectors. Most importantly, we're expecting partners from the conservation space. Those that are in wildlife conservation, those that are in water conservation. What are some of the mechanisms that are put in place to ensure that we are able to adapt to climate change? So everybody, all of us will be there, and we are very confident that the exhibitions that are going to be showcased. Not only that, Faith, I shouldn't forget to say that we also invite schools, the children, both from primary schools, secondary schools, universities, name it, private, public universities, they are all invited. And over the years, actually, they have been there to showcase some of the interventions that they are putting at various levels to be able to showcase.
Wonderful. So would we say as a ministry, you are on course with the preparations towards this day?
We are ready, Faith. We are excited, and we look forward to all the partners, especially including yourselves, the media, to be able to broadcast some of the information that will be shared through that event.
We now go on a short break. Stay tuned.
Zani's TV, the People's Channel, is now officially on DSTV. Starting 24th February 2026. Tune in on channel 274 DSTV and channel 29 GoTV. This marks a new chapter in delivering credible, national and people-centered programming to homes across Zambia and beyond. From news and national events to development stories and cultural programs, your channel just got bigger. Stay informed, stay connected, stay with Zani's TV.
Welcome back. In case you have just joined us, this is Zambia Today, looking at the 2026 World Environment Day, which falls on 5th June every year. And giving us more information, what has been planned for this day is Ms. Mayando Kanyata, Acting Assistant Director of Environment Management in the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. From a local perspective, Madam, what are the biggest environmental issues affecting our country currently?
Yes, thanks so much, Faith, for that question. It's a very important question, and I think it's a question that all of us should focus on in terms of what are some of the prominent environmental challenges that we are facing. So to begin with, I want to talk about land degradation. And when speaking about land degradation, I want to mean two things. I want to mean, one, the loss of forests, and on the other hand, I want to focus on the loss of soil fertility. Over the years, we have talked about deforestation and the impacts that it has on forest biodiversity and also on the ecosystem services that the forests provide. And I think over the years, we have also seen that problem accelerating. The recent statistics that we have as a country, I know that at one point we went up to 178 hectares of land being cleared per year. It is not a small problem, it is one of a big problem. On the other side, I usually want to focus on the other challenge that has to do with the loss of soil fertility. For one reason, you know that most of Zambia is rural, and our communities, most of our people depend on farming. So the more we continue losing soil fertility, it means that we are losing productivity. It's something that we are concerned about as a ministry. The other problem that we are seeing that has grown over the years has to do with the issues of pollution. Pollution, not pollution only of water bodies, but also we are concerned about pollution of the air. We are concerned about pollution of land. We are also concerned about noise pollution, Faith, to interest you. Those are some of the things that we think are emanating as the major challenges. Of course, the issue that we have come here for, the issue of climate change and its impact. So from the environmental perspective, we consider climate change as one of the biggest environmental problems because, of course, of its effects. Whether it's a drought or it's a flood, we have seen the effects that it has had both on the economies and also on the environment. And then I shouldn't forget, I think, to talk about the other issues that have to do with the loss of biodiversity, which we speak about as a Minister of Green Economy very dearly. Because we know that when you clear forests, you do not only clear the trees, but you also clear the biodiversity that is existing in that particular forest. So those of us who were born, I don't know when you were born in space, but those of us who were born in the 70s, especially a person like me who was brought up in the Copper Belt, those that were brought up in the Copper Belt would agree with me that our lives and our food systems were very interesting. For example, during rain season, we could not only enjoy the crops that are coming from the agriculture fields, but our homesteads, I remember very well, I was brought up in Karurushi myself, we could be able to get different fruits from the forest. Name it, about mushrooms. So you find that even the diet in terms of the variety, in terms of the food that you're going to eat was. So over the years, again, we have seen a dwindling in terms of biodiversity that we are getting from these various forest reserves. All those speak to the pressure that we are putting on the environment, and I think that should be able to urge all of us to put up our efforts together and see what we can do to protect our environment.
Awesome. How is the national environment policy shaping and promoting sustainable environmental practices across different sectors of the economy?
Yes, Faith. Again, there I should be quick to mention that the national environmental policy has, over the years, shaped the environmental agenda in this country, and I think we have seen it yielding a lot of results in terms of regulation, in terms of ensuring that there is compliance to environmental regulations, and also aligning to the various commitments that Zambia has made at international level. So in all, I think the environmental policy, by the way, we have a policy that was recently reviewed. So we have a 2025 policy on environment, which we believe that provides a solid framework in terms of the environmental protection agenda and where Zambia wants to go in the next few years.
In practical terms, what is it that people or the community need to do in order to not to impact the environment negatively? Okay,
thanks so much, Faith. That's one of my favorite questions, and I think I want to answer it like that, in this way. So when you look at environmental degradation, particularly climate action, you can best look at it and evaluate some of the actions that you're going to take, basing them on the sector. So I think to bring it down home, I would want to state some of the simple actions that one can do in order to mitigate the issue of emissions. Because when we're talking about climate change, we're talking about emissions. So reducing emissions, because it's the emissions that cause the globe to heat up. Yes, so let's think about the first point I would like to bring home is the issue of transport, the transport sector. I think it's common knowledge that most of the emissions, of course, in terms of the quantities, we have a different picture for Zambia, but in terms of the sectors that contribute to climate change, the transportation sector is one of the sectors that contribute to emissions. So how can you reduce emissions at personal level? For example, me as Mayando, how do I contribute to this? So what do I think? So some of the things that we are seeing Zambia doing, for example, in terms of development and going forward, are things that have to do with establishment of a reliable public transportation system. I'm sure those of us, I mean, if you have been outside this country, our colleagues in Europe, you know that there are very sustainable transportation systems for the public sector, which reduces emissions, because some of those transportation systems, for example, are electric. So you find that it's electricity, and if depending on the source of that electricity, in terms of emission, it is looked at as some of the measures that could reduce. But here in Zambia, for example, what do you do? Strange enough, Faith, there are homes where 3 vehicles come from that home. One vehicle will take the children, the other vehicle will take the wife, and the other vehicle will take the husband. Yes, it's comfortable, it's convenient, but let us think about what we are doing in terms of emissions and what are our contributions. So what can you do? Our colleagues, again in the Europe, sorry, I will be referring to our colleagues in the Europe, they are promoting measures which includes things like cycling, walking. Do you know that, strange enough, some of us, even when you live very near our studios here, you still want to drive. But you can get out of your home and walk to the office. But all of us, we feel it's fashionable for us to. I think those are some of the things that we need to move to be cautious about. So even when you do something, you need to ask yourself, how much contribution am I making in terms of emissions? Can I do better? What can I do to reduce the amount of, I think that being cautious will help us in terms of moving forward. That has to do with transport. So let's move now, when I move to energy. How do we use energy? Strange enough, I know that our electricity company has done a good job in terms of promoting of LED bulbs, and all of us are using energy-saving bulbs in most cases, but we are not good enough, Faith. Why am I saying we're not doing very well? You find that the way we're using electricity, for example, you switch on your geyser in the morning, you don't care how long that geyser is on, your lights are on. Those small things, if all of us could begin to be cautious about such things. So you switch the power, you switch off the power that you're not using. Is it possible that we transition our cooking, for example, instead of you using electricity for cooking, is it possible that you can use gas? Is it possible that you can move other alternatives that are there? Or are you still using charcoal? That's something that we should be guilty about, because you know that the more you continue using charcoal, the more trees are going down. Are you able to use other alternatives to charcoal? Because there are other mechanisms that have been put in place. For example, we have pallets, we have sustainable charcoal, other things that one can use. So it is those small contributions. If each one of us could be able to look at those small things that we do and our lifestyle, that would be able to move forward. The third thing that I want all of us to be conscious about is the things that we buy and how we use them. For example, again, I'll give a very simple example. Most of us still think it's fashionable for you to buy water in a bottle, drink it, and throw it away. Strange enough, even institutions, I hope one day we'll have a chance to come and check how you're doing with water and refreshment here as an is. You find that we have bottles and we'll drink it and destroy it. Can't we think that it's easy if we had a water dispenser, which can we fill every day? That way, we are reducing what we are throwing into the environment. Instead of us even moving further to talk about recycling, but just by you being able to use water in the dispenser, you're going to reduce the amount of bottles that are going to go into the environment. So, I think those are some of the things that we should think about. In terms of food, what kind of food do you eat? Is it possible that we can tweak our diets instead of them being meat-based diet? Because we know that animal production, for example, has a lot of emissions that it goes with. If we had a vegetable diet, those are some of the simple things that we can think about, and I think those are the things that we are thinking about ourselves to say, is it possible that we look out to? Then the other important thing is the protection of natural places. I don't want to say protection of forests, but I want to say natural places. So various ecosystems, whether it's wetland, whether it's forest ecosystems, is you at individual level, are you able to be the voice to ensure that those natural places are protected? Are we able to stand for the forest? What are we doing? Is it tree planting? Is it reforestation? Is it tree planting? Is it natural regeneration? How can you contribute to ensure that we continue to have natural places? Faith, if you have gone outside this country, you appreciate that some of the endowments that we have that are precious and only unique to Zambia are the natural places. I don't want to say forest deliberately because people want to associate natural places with only trees, but we have other natural places that are beautiful and only unique to Zambia. So how much effort are we putting in ensuring that those natural places are kept natural places? How much effort are we putting to ensure that our forests are kept intact? Are you also contributing to the destruction of forests? Are we able to stand and ensure that those forests are... Those are some of the things that each one of us, as we commemorate the World Environment Day this year, should be able to reflect on and ask ourselves to say, what am I doing? What more can I do to ensure that we protect our environment?
Wonderful. Lastly, as we mark World Environment Day 2026, what message would you like to leave with the viewers out there about their role in safeguarding our planet Earth?
I think our message is clear, Faith, and straightforward. What we're asking everybody is, what signal are you sending to the environment? Are you sending a negative signal? I think that's a question that we would like each one of us to ask ourselves. What signal are you sending? What are you doing to protect the environment? What more can you do to protect the environment? At the end of the day, we are saying, please join us not only as a ministry, but join the globe in ensuring that we act to mitigate climate change.
Madam, thank you so much for coming through to Zambia today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We're excited to be here, and we look forward to more engagement like this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Viewers, it is clear that World Environment Day is more than just a date on the calendar. It is a call to action. The Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has outlined the importance of sustainable policies, community involvement, and environmental responsibility in safeguarding our planet. As Zambia joins the rest of the world in commemorating this day on June 5th, 2026, let us all remember that protecting the environment begins with each one of us. Together we can build a greener, healthier, and more sustainable future. That is all we had for you on Zambia today. This has been Faith Katai. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.